Hey, what's up guys? JQ back with Tech Creation, where I use technology for recreation. So you guys voted for this video, and as promised, as a follow-up to the last video, I got together a few friends of mine from throughout the city who are extremely talented in traditional art, and I thought it'd be interesting to hear their perspective on the digital format, which is that of Apple's latest iPads. So without further ado and without wasting any time, enjoy.
Hi, my name is Maria Oben. I was born in Brooklyn, moved to Queens, and I am based in the Bronx. The type of work that I do is chalk and paint murals for restaurants based in New York City. I got into chalk murals because I was tired of drawing on your basic 8x10, so I wanted to do something more of a challenge. I first started using an iPad because I wanted to draw digitally. 2 years ago, I got the 10.5-inch iPad Pro because it was easier to travel with rather than traveling on the train with a 12.9-inch because it's just too big for me. It's literally a laptop. The difference between using chalk on the board and digitally is that on the chalkboard, you can manipulate the texture with your hands. It's a faster process physically on the chalkboard. My favorite apps to use in the iPad Pro is Procreate and Adobe Illustrator because you get to vectorize any artwork that you create, and I love using Procreate because you can make your own brushes for sketching before you do any real work outside of the iPad Pro. My favorite feature in Procreate is that we don't really know how to draw perfect shapes, so when you draw a certain shape, whether it's circle, square, or triangle, it'll snap right into it. When it comes to sketching, the biggest advantage the iPad Pro has over paper is not erasing as much. I have to think of an idea and sketch it out, and I have to put a digital grid around it so I can somewhat get a feel of how big I'm gonna do it. And then the official sketch goes on the chalk mural. That's when I just go all out and do the finished process. What I love about the Apple Pencil is that you're able to charge it and you won't really lose it as compared to the other one. Drawing with the Apple Pencil feels like you're using an actual pencil on paper. I like how it's the matte and the other one is gloss. It's only annoying when you're really paying attention to the detail, but when you're really focused on your work, it doesn't really matter that there's a ridge on the pencil. One of my favorite features on the iPad Pro is split screen because you get to refer back to the photo while you're sketching on Procreate. For me, in my head, what comes up is that you get to see it on a bigger scale. I do miss the home button because it makes it easier to navigate when you're pressing because you have to adapt to the new way of sliding up to navigate to other apps. It's kind of tricky with the slider being all the way at the bottom. There's a terabyte, and as an artist, you have thousands of files that you want to keep, so that's a great benefit. The 12.9-inch iPad Pro is great and all, but I do recommend the 10.5-inch iPad Pro depending on your budget and how much you're traveling. Between my current iPad Pro and the new iPad Pro, there's not much of a difference besides the home button. And the only reason I would upgrade is for the charging of the pencil.
My name is Jeffrey Mello. I'm from the Bronx, New York. I'm based out of New York City at the moment, and I'm all over the place. I do oil paintings, anywhere from Winsor Newton to Michael Harding's oil paints that pretty much reflect people's emotions, people's regal appearance. I want to create the most royal representations of my figures. Before the iPad Pro, I was sketching on tracing paper, using my phone to take images, scan them in, and then editing them on Photoshop. So I actually got the iPad for the new year. I looked at both of them. I was gonna get the bigger one, and then I just decided it doesn't really make a difference. I can zoom in and out of my images anyways if I needed to do work. I never wanted it for finishes. A big way that I use the iPad itself would be for reference. It's not paper, and I can just zoom into whatever spot I need to so that I can get as close to the image as possible. Right now I'm using a program called Procreate. It's only $10 in the App Store. I use the brushes. There's a set of different brushes. I can use abstract, I can airbrush, I can do painting, calligraphy. If you go artistic, you can do oil paint, you can do acrylic, pens as well, pencils. So right now this one that I'm using is making it look like charcoal pencil. It reminds me of a sketchbook feel. Whenever I use, by the way, this is amazing, I can control from a good amount of distance which one I want. I can do the eraser, I can do the brush, just like a double click, and that's it. Love that it charges. And it just sticks, it doesn't fall off, it's pretty secure. Like it bounces, it still stays on there. I love that. It doesn't take up too much power and it stays charged for a pretty long time. I don't think I've ever let this die since I bought it. The biggest thing I find with the iPad that I have trouble with is it feels like I'm scratching a screen. Like if you were to put a pen on your phone, you're like, oh, that doesn't seem right. I think texture, when you're drawing and you're an artist, you have a certain feel for paper. Like you want to get a certain aesthetic and a feel to when you draw. If you're an artist and you use a MacBook Pro and you have a Wacom tablet, or if you have a Cintiq, the little pens that come with it, it doesn't feel like you're scratching through the paper or the surface. For someone like me who spills liquids and paints, I like the fact that I'm not gonna damage my keyboard by doing that. I feel like every artist could take advantage of the iPad Pro. I think it has a lot of good qualities, a lot of good tools. If you're just an artist who needs something for the quick, you need to take photos, you need to do sketches in a minimal amateur way, it's definitely a good tool to have.
Hi, my name is Leah Romero. I'm originally from Washington Heights, but I currently reside in Brooklyn. I do a lot of freelance painting, but mostly I do graphic design for an agency. So as of recently, a lot of my personal work has consisted of painting on these like really small plexiglass. They're 2x2. Essentially, I just work with acrylic paint on acrylic and just make these like really small detailed paintings. I have used my iPad Mini 4 previously with clients whenever I'm like trying to sketch something on the spot. I usually just use Adobe Sketch, which is nice, but you really can't do much with it, especially since you're using your finger. So I got a chance to play around with the new 12.9-inch iPad Pro. This size, it's 12.9 inches, and it feels like a regular piece of paper. It just feels like an 8.5 by 11. Maybe, I mean, obviously it's a little bit bigger, but using the pencil is so much easier than using my finger on the iPad Mini 4. It's so much more precise. It just flows well. I don't know why I ever use my finger, honestly. This is like so much better. Drawing was really easy on it. I mainly used Procreate for the iPad Pro. I've never used Procreate before. It had so many good features. There's pencil brushes, calligraphy brushes, artistic brushes. You can change the width of the brush, the opacity. In using that, I felt like I didn't need to specifically use sketching paper. I can just sketch right on here, erase what I don't like, sketch again. It doesn't feel like paper. Personally, I'm used to drawing on a Wacom tablet with my Mac computer. They have this like sort of like papery feel to it, so you can kind of hear it scratching, which I really love that sound. Sometimes I'm a little bit like afraid of pressing a little bit too hard because I don't know, it is glass. The one thing that I didn't necessarily like about when using the Apple Pencil is that there's a feature on it where if you just double tap, it kind of starts the eraser tool on it. And I kind of mostly like naturally will sometimes rotate my pencil when drawing. So if I'm drawing, sometimes I'll accidentally like double tap on it and I'll start erasing my artwork, which I didn't like, because then I would have to like go back and then kind of redo my line work that I accidentally like started erasing. Even though I am more of a traditional artist and I still do graphic design work for freelance, I think this is such a helpful tool to use. It's a lot more mobile than using your laptop, and it's so much better than using my iPad Mini 4. At the end of the day, if you're gonna be using this, it's always gonna look somewhat digital, because this is a digital format. If you're trying to stay more traditional, then obviously doing it by hand is always gonna be the best method if you're trying to achieve a certain look. But if you're not and you wanna be fast and efficient and you don't care that it's somewhat digital looking, then this is perfect.
So that just about wraps it up. If you found any of these individuals interesting, make sure you go follow their work. Links will be down below in the description. And if you enjoyed the whole style and format of this video, I know it's a little different from what I usually do, let me know by showing some love to that like button. And also, by the way, drop a comment down below. I'd love to know what are some of your thoughts on their commentary of Apple's latest iPads. As always, if you haven't done so already, make sure you subscribe and turn on the alerts notification so you don't miss out on some more incredible tech videos. I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.